Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us here on the Noon News. I'm Samantha Sullivan. Democratic leaders visited the White House to talk infrastructure with the president, but while there's bipartisan support to repair America's roads and bridges, both sides can't agree on how to make it happen. Nicole Killian has more details from the White House.
President Trump sat down with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to talk about America's infrastructure. The Democratic leaders issued a statement ahead of the meeting saying they want to discuss a big and bold infrastructure bill. The White House says it's listening.
They requested the meeting. We're happy to have it. The president is an excellent listener, believe me.
The big sticking point remains how to pay for repairs. Pelosi and Schumer say they want to know how an infrastructure bill will be funded. The White House says it's looking for the same from the Democrats.
Roads and bridges are one thing, but Democrats say any infrastructure plan must address clean energy, while the White House has other priorities.
The first infrastructure projects really should be to secure our sovereign nation and give it borders that are real and that work.
The border wall divided the two sides the last time President Trump met with the Democratic leaders in the Oval Office, with the president threatening a government shutdown if Democrats didn't agree to fund it. Nicole Killian, CBS News, the White House.
Now back here in Montana, it's another day of wintry weather, this time in the south central and southeast portions of the state. This was the scene in Billings today. While not much snow is sticking, it's just enough to make you wonder if summer, or spring for that matter, is coming anytime soon. And now Ed will join us from the Weather Center. Ed, where all is getting snow today?
You know, the heaviest snow is really starting to move into the Central Plains. Let's go ahead and take a look at the graphic for today, because a lot of this is moving off towards the Dakotas. South Dakota, Rapid City, 4 inches, 6 inches just out of Custer. And as we take a look across the southern portion of Montana, we are getting some snow reports into northern Wyoming as well. Several inches of snow there. As we start getting through the rest of the day, we're going to be looking for the potential of rain and snow showers over much of the region, but northern Montana, after you got hit with that major system earlier in the week, you get a little bit of a break. A lot of this will slide out of southeastern Montana, Wyoming into South Dakota and continue tonight into tomorrow. Take a closer look at the forecast details in just a few minutes from now.
In other news, a Kalispell man accused of killing a 15-year-old girl after driving drunk into her home made his first court appearance. 31-year-old Jared Parsons is charged with vehicular homicide while under the influence. Flathead County investigators say Parsons drove his Dodge pickup truck into the house on Spring Creek Drive around 2 a.m. on Friday. 15-year-old Erin Hauk died in the crash while she was sleeping. Parsons faces up to 30 years in prison and a fine of up to $50,000 if convicted. His bond was set at $500,000 on Monday. A 6-year-old Wyoming girl is dead after she was hit by a school bus last week. Sheridan police say the girl was trying to chase after her school bus on Monday, but somehow went down and was struck. She had been in a coma, but the school sent out an announcement on Saturday about her death. The district says extra counselors have been brought in for students. In a statement, the girl's family says it's thankful for the outpouring of community support. And a 53-year-old Billings man now facing a DUI charge after he's accused of driving drunk and crashing into a Billings school bus. Jeremy Bernhard was arrested after his truck slammed into the back of a bus on Monday afternoon. Police say one teenage girl was transported to the hospital with just minor injuries. Police say the bus had its flashing lights on for about a block before it came to a complete stop and the pickup truck rammed into it. The remaining students were transferred to a different bus and were dropped off about an hour later than normal. Well, new details say the student who fired a gun out of a window at the University of Montana's dorm complex was highly intoxicated when the incident happened. The male was turned into a campus police by his mother. There he admitted to police he had fired the gun. The student said he borrowed the gun from a friend. Police found casings but no gun after a search of his dorm room. Authorities have released the name of the man who died when the boat he was in capsized near Helena in Upper Holter Lake. Lewis and Clark County authorities have identified the victim as 63-year-old Craig Brissell of Pacific, Missouri. The coroner says Bristol was not wearing a life jacket at the time. It happened after 3 boats left on an outfitted fishing trip and one began to take on water. Another boat turned back to assist. When they tried to bring the passengers from the sinking boat on board, the second boat also capsized. 5 others were rescued and treated and released at the hospital. The investigation is still ongoing, but authorities say all indications point to weather as the cause. The Montana Supreme Court has upheld a lower court's ruling that opens the door for expanded abortion services in the state. The court's decision allows advanced practice nurses and nurse midwives to continue to provide abortion care without the threat of criminal prosecution. The 4-3 decision upholds an injunction granted by a Helena district judge in April of last year, barring enforcement of the state law, allowing only physicians and physicians' assistants to perform the procedure. The case was filed by the ACLU of Montana and the Center for Reproductive Rights.
As you know, we're a very rural state. Some people have to travel nearly 200 miles to reach an abortion clinic, and so many people get their primary health care from an advanced practice clinician that is not a doctor, and they provide good quality services, and Montanans should be able to get the full array of health care from those providers, including abortion.
While abortion rights supporters are calling the Montana Supreme Court's decision a win, it's still only temporary at this point. The case remains pending in the 1st Judicial District Court in Lewis and Clark County. In other news this afternoon, there's an uncertain future for preschool providers around the state of Montana. This after lawmakers voted down a state funding proposal. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian tells us what existing programs are looking to do.
In 2017, the Montana legislature approved $6 million in funding as a 2-year pilot program to expand access to preschool in the state. 18 public and private providers eventually received grants through the STARS preschool program. The Helena School District used the money to start a 16-student preschool class at Hawthorne Elementary School. In the East Helena School District, the grant went toward an 18-seat class at Eastgate Elementary. District leaders said they were impressed with how the preschool program got kids school ready.
It's a program that actually prepares kids, just gets that sponge oriented right so that it's ready to accept knowledge and the education that we'll provide in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all the way through the grades.
Extending state preschool funding became a major issue through the last day of this year's legislative session. But in the end, lawmakers couldn't reach an agreement to either expand the program or continue the STARS preschool funding. Both Helena Superintendent Tyler Ream and East Helena Superintendent Ron Whitmoyer have told MTN they won't be able to continue their preschool classes.
We looked at every conceivable rock we could turn over to come up with funding to do this. It's that important.
Whitmoyer says he's hopeful lawmakers will eventually be able to come up with a plan to again provide preschool funding.
They'll look, they'll talk, they'll discuss it, and they'll come back with a better idea next session. I'm pretty confident in that.
In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Now, Jonathan tells us private providers will continue some of their operations thanks to grants. Well, coming up here on the New News, opposition leaders are calling it Operation Freedom, a military uprising taking to the streets of Venezuela. Those details when we come back. But first, tomorrow is the first day of May. Will we finally see some more spring-like weather? And we'll have the answers in his full forecast right after the break.
Watching MTN News with Samantha Sullivan, Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and Farm and Ranch News from the Montana Ag Network. This is the New News on Q2, Montana's news leader.